Today's guest on the Travel Punks podcast, my friend Marissa Matus, stand-up comedian, professional masseuse, and psychedelics enthusiast. We discuss dealing with creeps at the World Series of Poker, the challenges of being a liberal in Trump's America, her work at an ayahuasca clinic in Peru, and accidentally ordering an erotic massage not once, but twice in Kathmandu. See her 1-hour special at marissamatus.com. That's Marissa with 2 S's, Matus with 2 T's and a YS.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Marissa Matus.
Well, you're a comic. You have to have thick skin. And I was like, actually, no, we're like the weirdest, most sensitive little sad souls sometimes. You know, like not sad, but like sensitive.
Yeah.
I have this one time I was working in Vegas. I was... I'm a licensed massage therapist in a couple different states, and I do chair massage at the World Series of Poker.
Yeah, that's an invitation for some, well, not justifiable, but I'm sure you've heard some shit that...
Environmentally, you're going to run into some weird stuff. Poker players are... I know I'm on a podcast, but like, wow. Like, oh my God.
I can only imagine their characters.
Yeah. They're, sure.
I've only met a few.
I've met a lot, and so I'm working, and the job is, like, you're walking around, and then they're like, excuse me, miss, if it's a nice day, like, please may I have a massage? Mm-hmm. And otherwise it's like, massage! Like, they're just, like, disgusting. So it's set up in kind of a complicated way, and that's gross and weird and whatever, kind of hookery. But there was a guy who called me over and whatever, and sometimes you're there because somebody really is like, oh, I sit for 12 hours a day, like I have a really bad headache, and like, help me. Oh, okay.
Speak up just a little.
Got it, I will. And and so sometimes it's that, a legitimate kind of health thing. I can use about 4% of my skill set in this job environment or whatever, but yeah, whatever. But a lot of times you're there because, you know, you look a certain way and you look nice and you have red lipstick and you can throw a game, sort of. Like, you can distract people.
Wait, who?
So someone will be like, I want a back massage, but you're standing behind them whilst they're playing cards. And
so your role is to be on camera?
I'm not on camera, but there are 10 people that you're competing against.
So
and
you're
if somebody's
there to fake
like,
people out?
like, here's a pretty girl with red lipstick. And, like, it's vaguely distracting.
Okay.
Or sometimes they're trying to change their luck. Or something. So they're like, I'm losing.
Give me those magic hands.
I just need to, like, shake it up a bit or something. Or I've had guys that are like, I mean, this is a whole podcast in itself. I'm, like, threatening to write a one-woman show about it. But I was at this table, and this very, very nice man who's, like, legitimately had a headache, had one for days, and was like, please, can you just work on my scalp? And I was like, yeah, no problem. That's very easy as well. And so they're playing cards. I'm working on this guy's scalp. And the other guy across the table isn't doing well. And they have this very quiet banter, this very quiet shit-talking, but they're, in general, but, like, quiet. And it was a tournament, so it's a nicer game and blah, blah, blah. But, like, it wasn't going well for this other guy across the table from my client. And he's like, oh, does she... And kind of mumbled at first. And then everybody kind of ignored it, but then he was like doing that thing where you're trying to get a joke or you're trying to get a rise. And so you run it again. It's very awkward when they do it. But he did it once or twice more, and he was like...
Yeah, I'm wincing just to think about that.
Oh, yeah. And he's just like this old kind of hippie guy that I originally was like, maybe he gets it. And then he was like... And then I finally heard what he was saying, which was, does she give good head?
This was a guy nearby?
Yeah, across the table from my client. And I was like, nope. And you have this annoying timer thing. And I shut off the timer and I threw my hands off. And I was like, nope, we're fucking done now. And, you know, kind of went off and had this beautiful stutterless monologue. And, like, you know, you're just expected to not speak. Because they're kind of thinking, but they're also, like, drunk all the time. Like, some of them.
So this wasn't the guy you were giving the massage
to?
No,
he was very nice. My client was very nice, was very cool. And he was like, please don't take this out on me. And I was like, I'm not going to hurt you, but this guy and all of you spineless assholes sitting around watching it happen needs to shut the fuck up. And he was like, okay, cool, got it. And then he spoke with me afterward. He was like, I really didn't mean anything by it. I was like, I don't care what the fuck you meant by it. Like, in front of the guys, like, this was before. He was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, you need to be. Like, that's disgusting. And he didn't even know anything about me. I was just like some massage girl, you know, in quotes, you know, and So then afterward, game went on break, but the guy was like, my client said, hey, can you come back? So I was kind of waiting around. The asshole guy across the table came over and was like, hey, I'm really sorry about that. And I was like, yeah, what's wrong with you? And he, and he's just like, well, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's, and trying to like make up for it by, I don't know, but like asking something as if he's like interested in anything.
Can I buy
I have to
you
say.
a drink?
And it's just like, yeah, like, so what's your deal? You don't seem like maybe, blah. And I was like, listen, you need to handle yourself, and I'm not cool with this, blah, blah, blah. And somehow he was like, well, what do you do when you're not doing massage or something like that? And I was like,
not talk to you.
Yeah, like, I don't know, you're an asshole, so not anything to do with you. But he was like, oh, cool, so you're a comic, and you're an actor, and you're a writer. And he was like, well, you're a comic, right? Like, how could you not handle that situation? Because, like, and why would you even respond to that? You have to have such thick skin being a comic. And I was like, yeah, but I'm still a human being. And I didn't say that to him. I was like, you're going to see me, watch for me, and handle your shit. Like, mind yourself. And he was like, okay, cool. And kind of smiled at me, and I was like, oh, Leo, smile. And like, whatever. But like, he got it. And he, hopefully never said something so stupid in front of a girl.
I think smiling to a certain extent is like a submissive behavior in primates.
Oh, definitely. It was definitely like, got it.
Please don't hurt me. Like,
we're cool,
in
right?
a lot of cultures, smiling is a very distinctive sign of apology and please don't hurt me. It's not so much in American culture, although we do it to be ingratiating. Mm-hmm. Like, you look at two people, one of them's smiling, one of them's not. Who's in charge? Kind of depends.
I think it really depends.
I'm going to assume it's the not smiling person.
Often, however...
Although it might just be that they're not having fun.
I feel like in terms of subtle underlying dynamics of conversations, you control a lot more if you're reading a person. And that's not to say that I'm trying to control you right now, or like trying to control people in general or anything like that. But I feel like sometimes people need a smile just to be put at ease or like taken off guard.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Which sounds chipper, like not as dark as I even mean it, but
it could be either a submissive move or a power move, depending. I just have heard, and I haven't really experienced it myself, but I've heard of people getting like offended when they were like complaining about bad service, and some guy from a different culture was like smiling at them. I was like, why are you smiling about this?
Oh,
I need satisfaction or whatever.
Interesting. Like, is this a joke to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some cultural clashes that I've heard of about that, but I haven't ever experienced one. I mean, it's been a long time since I yelled at someone who was rendering me service in a different language. In fact, I don't know if I ever have, but...
I had one. I was serving. I worked in like a little cafe for a couple of weeks or something in Argentina. And I kind of I'd been in Chile and South America, and I was like, this is cool. But like, man, every time I go to a place, like, I have to ask for so much more coffee. And they just, like, what? Normally, yeah. We
ask for coffee?
Yeah, that normally, like, they have, like, a pitcher. If they have a pitcher, they just refill it for you at a cafe in America, and they are on you like a hawk, like a very happy hawk. And then, you're just like, okay, yeah, do you need anything else? Are you good? And that vibe is just not how
very different.
How a lot of the rest of the world does service. And
is it because other countries don't have the tipping culture or the tipping economy, I guess is a better word for it, that the U.S. has?
It's not as... Like, you don't depend on it quite as much as a server or whatever, probably. And people don't...
Because they actually pay you?
Kind of. I don't know. I don't think he was paying me that much either. But
you weren't paid that well working wait staff in Argentina?
I was just a temp, cash, under the table kind of thing. Like,
were you just like working your way across South America?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I did that. And I do massage, so I would trade places to live for massage and stuff like that with friends or friends of friends or whatever, and that kind of thing. But... yeah, I just remember walking up to this table and being like, "Hola, caballeros!" And they were like, "Whoa!" They thought I was on
Didn't
speed.
see that coming.
Yeah, because I was like kind of frustrated. I was like, "Where's the sense of service here, Jesus?" And like,
I'm going to show these people how an American does it.
And they did not love it. They were just and it's not even a tipping culture thing. It's just assumed that like, oh, you'll wave at them when you need something, or like you they're not watching for it because people don't like to be watched in general. America is a country where people are watched all the time, and it's almost like creepily comforting now or something. And it comes out in this weird service way. Maybe, I don't know, that's like the conspiracy theorist in me, I don't know. But yeah, that it's just assumed like, oh yeah, those are two friends and they're just visiting and they're catching up, so let them catch up, like let them have their thing, and they'll let you know if you're needed.
Not a part of this.
Yeah, and I was like, I am now. And I learned quickly that they don't care for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So how much ground have you covered? I'm pretty sure you've traveled more than I have.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you're in Europe like every other week, I feel like.
I'm not, but let's figure it out.
You want me to list countries?
We don't have to, but I mean, you have to.
Okay. I have, let's see here. a lot in America, like you said. We
U.S.?
Yep. In the United States, yeah. Canada, Mexico, Chile, Peru, Argentina, South Africa, Namibia, England, Ireland, France, Bosnia. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember the name?
Going up? Let's go to Asia.
Nepal. A long time in an airport, a few times in China, but that doesn't really count.
Oh, I did
Nepal.
not like my long stays in Chinese airports.
I remember it because it was a long layover anyway, and then everything got super, super delayed. So I was there for like a day once.
Oh, wow. In the airport?
Yeah, and it wasn't like a day where I could go get, I don't know, whatever a Chinese visa is that you can get for a day. I don't think that exists anyway, but like, it wasn't quite long enough to leave. It was like 6 or 8 hours or something. And so I'm there, and I'm like, I'm so tired because I was working in Australia, and so I was both on my way to Australia and then to Nepal from there, was in Guangzhou, and it's just like the big weird gross airport, whatever, like they are, but I'm laying on, I remember being like, oh, I'll just lay down on my backpack a little bit and wait for this line because I've been here forever and I'm just jet lagged as you are and whatever. And then I see this man standing 4 feet above me, or I mean 4 feet away from me, and I hear him
You got
kind of
arrested by the bulls.
And he spits on the floor, the carpeted floor.
Oh no.
And I was like, ooh, and he didn't spit on me. He wasn't being disrespectful.
Was this just some guy or was
me.
he like an official?
No, it was just some guy. Like, I think, maybe he worked there. Maybe he was just a passenger. I'm not sure. But, like, people were starting to line up for the plane for another flight or something like that. And I hear him kind of go, like, oh, and I was like, oh. And I was like, no, certainly I couldn't have heard that correctly. And then because I hear it a few more times, and I open my eyes, and I was like, oh my God, they spit on the floor here. And it's fine. Nobody's hitting him. Like, nobody's taking him out. I was like, oh, I'm laying in a pool of carpet spit. And I was, I didn't catch anything. It was fine.
My China airport complaint was more along the lines of my internet didn't work.
Also, well, yeah, because you can't Google anything. And you can't Facebook.
Well, I couldn't connect to 4G LTE with my phone. I couldn't connect to their Wi-Fi in the airport, so I had nothing. And it's shameful how lost I was. I didn't know what the currency conversion was, so I didn't know how much anything costed. Yeah, I think I spent $7 on this much coffee one time. I engaged in no commerce in the Shanghai airport. None. For 8 hours. And that's like being without oxygen for an American. So I didn't buy anything. I was hungry as hell. I wanted to buy some food, but...
It was gross. It probably
honest to God, well, I mean...
Well, it was a grown show, but...
I could have sat down at one of the airport restaurants, but I heard they weren't that good. I wanted to try and like venture into Shanghai and find some good Chinese food, but the visa issue aside, which it sounds like you've thought this through a lot more than I did. The visa issue aside, it turns out Shanghai is a big place, and even with an 8-hour layover, there was no guarantee that I could get a train, get a good meal, get on a train, and get back and recheck in time for my flight.
It might be dicey.
Yeah, but I didn't want to eat at the restaurants. There were some cafes, but honest to God, in either the cafes or I'm just sounding like the fucking worst right now. And I
always do.
I don't mean anything nasty to Chinese culture in general. All I'm saying is I couldn't identify any of the food. Like in other countries, I maybe couldn't read the labels, but I could tell when I was looking at meat or when I was looking at a vegetable or when I was looking at chocolate. I could not tell. It was like they were doing a whole different kind of food there.
Different thing. Yeah, like just pointing like a picture or something like that. I was like, ugh. Well, a lot of times I find that if I'm in a country where I can't read very well, and then plus the photography's not that good, I'm like, man, I really don't want to eat. Because I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting. And they shot it in like blue or yellow. Oh, again, I sound like the worst as well. But I was like, oh, it doesn't look that good. You know? Like,
it's okay to be a foreigner.
And that was a really fun lesson that I learned in South America, that I was
like, don't be a dick about it. I wasn't like, where's the McDonald's? Like, then I would have been ashamed of it. Like, see that fucking
we're not
guy.
Nightmares,
like,
but I'm just like, I'm not hungry because I don't get it. Yeah, like.
I think I lost my appetite, and I don't know if how much you want. Is how many dollars?
Because I really did spend like $7 or $9 on one cup of coffee, and then I did it many times because I was like, well, I need something. I have coffee.
I require coffee.
Yeah, I was like,
I need to engage in commerce. Like, I have this weird urge to be like, I'm in an airport, I got to engage in commerce, which is why I'm excited to have lounge access for some of my upcoming trips so that I can like consume without spending money. Of course, I'm spending money on the credit cards that give me lounge access or whatever, but
best lounge I've ever had is Lima, Peru.
Yeah, what was it?
The best. I mean,
which lounge?
It's just the lounge. They just have one there. And so the first time coming in, I was delayed like kind of overnight in California or something.
Is it an exclusive lounge? You have to have a pass?
Yeah, you can't, like, I think you could buy a thing or you could whatever, but if something happened...
Maybe it's priority pass. I gotta look that up.
I'm not sure exactly what it was, but Lima, Peru was the best one ever. They have places where you can nap, they have places where you can shower, everything was free as soon as you got in. They had Pisco on like one of those lemonade things that they have at like Chick-fil-A or whatever. It was like that, but Pisco.
Nice. Like Pisco Sour?
Mm-hmm,
or just pure Pisco?
Oh, sorry. No. Pisco Sour. You're right. Pisco Sour in the lemonade machine.
And a rear loading dock for you to be put on an ambulance and taken to the hospital for alcohol poisoning.
I did great. I didn't have that happen.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. The first time I was delayed, so they gave me one. And then the second time I had crashed this motorcycle. My foot was all messed up. And
what the fuck? You crashed a motorcycle in Peru?
Mm-hmm. I wasn't driving, but I did cause the accident 100%.
Oh my god.
And
what did you do?
Well, it's a longer story, but I'm trying to think how I crashed the bike was I was a passenger. It was the Peruvian Amazon. I was working at an ayahuasca healing center, and I kind of faked an injury because I needed to get out of this job. Like
we were just brushing over so much interesting shit.
Yeah,
I was at an ayahuasca healing center.
I was
moving along to the next thing. Wait the fuck a minute. No, I knew this about you, but it's been a long time since we talked about this. But go on.
Well, how long do you want the story to be?
I mean, we got time.
Okay.
We got some time.
Okay.